Well, good morning, everyone. Yeah, I'm going to crack straight on with it this morning. We're going to be writing Trance, obviously. Um, yeah, that's all there is to say. It's I'm working on the same tune that I was yesterday, uh, and I'm going to keep on going. I'm going to try and write some more stuff. You never know how these things are going to go. I thought I might work on some rhythm, and we're going to discuss writing as well. So yeah, let's just crack straight on with it. I've changed nothing since yesterday. And I like this lead, but I kind of like to do more with it. So I'm going to chuck in a track here, and we're going to add. And it's going to need to be an instrument track because I'm going to be putting MIDI into this part. I did bounce down the two bass lines because they're very CPU heavy, those bass lines. They had some pretty heavy processing on them. Yeah, cool. Okay. So onto this part here. I'm going to add a instance of Reactor. And I'm going to use something in Reactor called the Finger, which is a glitch device. And this is primarily designed for live use, but I think it's fantastic in the studio. So we're going to give this a go. It'll take a second or two to load. It's quite RAM heavy. There we go. And essentially, for every MIDI note on my keyboard, this thing will throw out a different effect on each and every single MIDI note. Why don't we go with that? That'll probably be fine. So you see up here all these different effects. But the thing is, you've got to assign MIDI notes to it. And it will also be polyphonic, so you can layer up effects. And it will always go for it will play one MIDI effect. Say you put a pitch shifter on one, and then you press another note, then it will put on top of that the next effect. So maybe a pitch shifter and then a delay, or a filter, or whatever, or another pitch shifter, or a stutterer. It will just keep on stacking up effects no matter how much you put on. Okay, here we go. So I'm just going to use this. I'm not looking to sort of break the world with this, but what I am looking to do is to affect little snippets of audio to give a bit of variation to each pattern. And on the track itself, it's got input and out. I want instruments. I want buses. I can never remember how to do this. I'm having a mind blank. I can't remember how to do this, so we might have to Oh, that doesn't help. It thinks it's an audio track. So we'll start again with that. Remove track. And I want to add an instrument track. Alright, let's try that. There we go, that's better. React 6. And I think it's going to be React 6 too, because I think. Yeah, there we go. So I'll make sure I've got the instrument, the effect that I want to send MIDI to. And I come over here and I throw that into React 6 FX2. So this channel now will receive MIDI information the effect on Brazil 64 will receive MIDI information from Reactor, this track 19 that I just set up. And you don't hear anything at all when you play notes in the finger. It has no sound, it just affects sound that passes through it. So if I stick that on C3, and I started there, I think. That's on the second beat. Okay, cool. So let's hear what happens. I'll mute it this time. And now listen to it with that on. I could quite clearly hear the effect. I'm going to turn these back onto instrument tracks because I don't like how they sound when they're bounced. I'm going to need to look at that. That's better. I'll just live with the CPU usage for a minute or two. And because this is it's not random as such, but it's difficult to figure out what effect you're going to get before you hear it. I'm going to loop this short segment and I'm going to find sounds in here that I like. I need to basically change the MIDI note each time until I get something I like. I'll unmute it. I'm going to solo the 2 tracks. And the other thing I want to do is I want to move that behind the delay. I quite like that. Probably a little much. Kind of a tape stop effect. Distortion. Oh, I like that. See, that's quite subtle. I can go with that, and it's called a cut boost, that one. Okay, cool. I'm going to copy that out, and then I'm going to shove it down here again. So each one of these is going to be just that little bit different. Let's check this one. And there's no easy way of knowing. Just have to keep on playing around until you get something you like with the finger, but it's got fantastic effects. Fantastic effects built in. And it comes with a whole sort of suite of effects. So if it's not quite what you want, you just change into a different suite of effects, which is fantastic. So let's try Techno Science. Keep all the same MIDI, I have different notes. Yeah, I like that. I think at 57 I might like to have a kind of a little fill. So I'm gonna cut out 2 beats of that bar, and I'm gonna do the same on the bass parts. And I'm going to do that because toms are pretty bassy, and it will lead to a bit of a clash. But if I take the bass parts out, then I'll leave myself room to have a nice little tom fill or something. So to do that, how I want to do it, I'm going to chuck in a part of massive, not massive. I'm just reading what I'm seeing on the side now. That's no good. Battery. That would be perfect. I think I've still got channel 3 on this battery. I think that can work. Yeah, that'd be fine. We'll do it there. And I'm just going to jump around to the mixer. There we go, that's what I'm looking for. So on channel 7 and 8, I'm going to call this toms. And you've got to be pretty disciplined about, well, you don't have to be. I used not to be disciplined about the mixer at all, but it becomes really confusing if you're trying to read down this. And yeah, you see, there we go. You've got what I've got, which is a load of things which are named after, exclusively after the instruments you put it in, or worse, not named at all. So I'm going to call that finger MIDI. That's pretty clear. We'll call that dub chords. That's an effect. Noise sweep. No, scary sweep. We'll call it scary sweep. That's clearer. Cool. Okay, so this drum fill I wanted to write. I loaded in an instance of battery. Where did I put it? Oh, I didn't. I used the upper percussion, so it's that one. That instance of battery. And we're going to find some toms to get into these here. So I want percussion. No, tom. There we go. And I quite like acoustic toms. I wonder why that's just coming out of the left channel. Interesting. And that's pretty annoying that they're kind of the high toms are all in one place and the low toms are all in another place. So if I want to get one standard set of toms, I have to kind of dig through this. I think probably we'll go for the 12 on the high. Um, 12 on the mids and 12 on the mid low. That'll be fine. I won't need more than that. And on the 4th beat of the bar, there we go. That's in line. I separate out that part because at the moment it's ghosted to all the other percussion parts. It will change as they do, which is not what I now want. I want it to be a little bit separate. I need the MIDI notes, obviously. That's C3, C sharp 3, and D3. Perfect. And on the 4th beat of the bar, I'm going to do that. Okay, I just need to change the output channel of these cells, and it was on 7 and 8, I believe. Yeah, 7 and 8, cool. And toms can be pretty hard to mix. They have a lot of low end energy, which goes all the way down, a lot like your bass and your kick. You've got to be careful with them. And they also have a long tail, so you can hear how confused it is. That almost sounds like 2 hits, not 3. So I'm going to apply a volume envelope to these and get them a bit more under control. Getting there. And I'm going to want that one to be about the same, really. And that one I can make a bit longer, because that's the last hit. Let's see how that sounds. That's much better. There's still the channel's obviously too loud, which is fine. I can just turn it down, but there's also a lot of bass. So let's get rid of a lot of the bass on that. But if you cut it too much, then you stop them having any impact. So you've got to be careful with this as well. And I'm going to look at around 75 hertz probably for that, I think. Let's get a bit of a short verb on there. Probably minus 60 dB is going to be about right. Let's see how that sounds. And on both occasions, I feel like a 53 and 61, I feel like it needs something else. It's kind of very blank. It's fine. I think it's going to need something else going into 65, which is going to be a section change. I don't know, I reused that, that's cool. So that's metallophone, that's not used, but waterphone suite, we'll call that. But I'm going to need some kind of effect at 53, definitely. It feels very, very sparse there. And I'm quite happy having this section as kind of almost a groovy section, not a big melody section. Just it's the start of the tune. We're only 49 bars in, so if it's kind of working up to something rather than a massive melody at this point, that's fine. That's good, in fact. I don't like that, and I don't think it's necessary. Toms are still a bit loud. So, what am I going to put in there? Let's put in a cross mod sound. I'm going to load up Diva. And we're going to use this section here. some kind of noiseful sounds. And we'll decide exactly what that's going to be in a second. I'm going to turn down the volume on oscillator 1 and oscillator 3. I'm going to use the envelope. I'm going to go straight for analog modes, reduce the sustain, and we'll see what happens with release. And I'm going to use envelope 2, that's perfect. I'm going to turn on oscillator 1. I'm going to put the tune mod all the way up. And now we're going to play, and we're going to put the FM up from oscillator 1. Now this may take a little bit of work. So let's see what sort of sound we're getting. And it's probably going to be rough to start with, but that's okay. It doesn't always have to be a nice sound. And I'm going to solo that and loop it, and I'm going to work on getting an interesting sound with this. That's nasty. Let's try changing this to a bandpass. That's a filthy noise. I think I like the Cascade best. Not the Cascade, the ladder. That's definitely the sort of creakiest and gronkiest. We'll go with that. So, delay. And that's a fade-in noise, so probably I should put it there before the bar. Maybe not. Maybe there. It's going to need a lot of EQ. There's a lot of high cut. Low cut. Well, I can go with that. I just need something else there. And we'll put the Pro Cue before the delay. The delay needs more feedback. That's fine. I'll transform that into an audio track. FM sweep. And we could try putting in a pad noise. So one of the strategies I believe in for writing is that you should have like almost like a mental dictionary or even like a physical list. You could actually write a physical list of techniques you have to try. Because if you want to create something, it doesn't just sort of happen. Over time, you'll gradually develop patterns or habits. And what those habits are, they can be very useful to you or they can be extremely not useful and off putting and damaging to your creativity if you get stuck in a rut and always go back to the same habits. But if you literally make like a bullet point of techniques that you know to create ideas and you're not quite sure what you want to do, you just go down that bullet point list and you just try. You just say, okay, I'm going to try that. 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 Even if you think, I don't know how on earth I try that technique, like, how would I try? It's difficult to describe, but if you make an unfamiliar situation for a technique, then you'll stop being creative. You'll think of creative ways to try and fit that in. So, right now, I'm not doing anything unfamiliar, but I want to put in a pad technique. So, the FM sweep idea I had to make this section sound great didn't work, but it was a useful noise anyway, just not at that precise point. So now I'm going to try something else, and then I'll try something else, and then I'll try something else, and eventually I will get to the point where it no longer fails. That's the trick. That's the trick. Essentially, writing music is every time I work on this section and going back into it, I'm admitting to myself that what I've just written didn't do what I wanted it to do. And the only point I move on or finish the composition is when I don't think it fails anymore. So it will constantly fail, and I'll gradually develop it and iterate on it and think about how to be creative with it until it no longer fails. That's what I'm doing when I write music. Just keeping on going until I'm happy with what I've written. So, pad noise. Let's go for a massive synth. Looking easy. And it's kind of, this is going to be sort of in between a pad and a lead. It's going to be quite noticeable because the track is quite sparse at this point. So it needs to have some sort of character. And Massive's great for pad noises because of its very flexible LFO structure. Or if you don't use LFOs, you can do performers, things like that. But at the moment, I'm going to use envelopes and the morph function down here. How do I work it? I can't remember. Infinite loops, that's perfect. Turn all of that up. So now I have a modulator, and it can take some work to get that how I want it, but we'll get there. I'm going to go for something like this, and I'm going to use that to modulate the wavetable position. So let's have a listen to what I've just written. And maybe just hold. No, I'm going to change it to an LFO. I've changed my mind immediately. LFO is going to be a lot easier because I don't want it to be resetting on the envelope change. So mono. Something like that would be perfect. I'm going to take the speed of that right down. Then I'm going to put in a different one there, and then I'm going to use another LFO to modulate which waveform I'm in, like that. So that's going to be near random, I would say. I've got no real idea what's going to happen. And why don't I use something like that to modulate which one I'm in. So I have no real idea what I'm going to be hearing. Let's find a waveform I like. And why don't I change this over into formant? And this is a bit like a sort of formant sync function. Kind of strange. And I could use LFO 6 maybe to modulate that just a touch. Maybe a little bit more. And I don't want either of these LFOs to be restarting. Okay. We'll set this up. I'm definitely going to want a dimension expander on this sound. The dimension expander essentially, it's really poorly documented, but how it works is a lot like early reflections on a reverb. I'll set the level up there. Just the merest bit of fade on the sustain. Let's get some unison going on that sound. I don't think I need much more than 3. I'll move the pan position out, and then I'll set up the very smallest amount of detune on it. And let's get some filtering going on in there. I think that's screaming out for a double notch. So LFO 7, I'll jump into that, and I'm going to make that a mono LFO again. So this is going to sound a lot like a phaser. We're going to try the same trick again. So LFO 7 is going to be modulated by LFO 8, and that's going to be that waveform. That's fine, that's perfect. Not restarting, nice and slow. There we go. LFO 7 goes on to the cutoff of our double notch filter. And let's set up the filtering as we want it. So serial, I'll put the filters in serial. This still leaves me filter 2 to work with for shaping the sounds. And we're going to set up, I think, probably an ensemble. These might be the wrong way around, but it's not the end of the world even if they are with these two. I'll try that again. Funny little click. I'm trying to figure out where that could have come from. Thinking it could be that. Mono, mono. Okay. I think we're there. And now we're going to set up something similar in these. I've still got a click in there. It's going to drive me mad. Okay. We'll set these up. I'm going to do similar things here, but I'm going to use different modulators to affect the oscillators in each case. So I'm developing a complicated waveform. Maybe that one. Who knows? And a little bit of detune in these. What is clicking? It has to be an LFO. There we go. Maybe that. And now we'll set up some effects on that. So we'll get the long verb on that. And some space echo, I think, which is my go-to delay for spaced out weird delays. Okay, so let's take that out of solo. And see how it sounds. It's going to be a bit loud. I think just on the root note it's going to be more effective. Okay. No. I also think that the release can be longer. Get a really big sound. Maybe get some low pass filtering in there, though I'm not sure that's really going to help because it's quite a fizzy, bright sound, and that's kind of where all the character is. Yeah, I think I can get something going on with that. So I'll set that up with the macro. I'm going to automate that. Add remove is going to be macro 1. Close. And then we're just going to sweep through macro 1. And we're going to extend it slightly beyond the end because we got the release. So I can still make the macro open as the release from the synth of the last note is playing. And what if I actually make them chords? Rather than just single notes. That can work. I don't think that will work at the same time though. Wonder where I put my tea. Over there. Be cold by now. Listening to get a feel. Yeah, I can go with that. I am okay with that. So I'm going to hide away my automation there. I'm just going to grab my tea, 2 seconds, and have a little think. So what I kind of think is that I need to think about where I'm going in the next section. And what I do in these 8 bars is go into the next section. And I can't do that until I've written the next section. So the obvious thing to do is to crack on with the next section, which should probably be a bit different. So I'll extend them out. And now I have to decide what elements I'm going to keep the same, which will probably be the snare. The upper percussion in some way, although I might want to have a look at that and try to change it. And that's kind of going to be it. I might use that, the dub chords, to signify that I changed sections. Yeah. That would be about all I want at this point. I don't think I've got a crash cymbal in anywhere yet. The snare sounds kind of weak. I can fix that later, that's not a big problem. So I'm going to take out the open hi-hat. And we're going to work on getting the percussion right in this section. Which means I need to open up battery. I'd like a shaker. That'll be fine. 1 and 2. And they can go on output to another new channel. That can go to 9 and 10. Perfect. And the second one was definitely had a quicker attack than the first one. And they're on C2 and C sharp 2. I need to set up the output channel. There we go. Loads and loads of outputs if I need them, that's perfect. I'll call that shaker. That's going to be fundamentally like that. That's obviously far too loud, but I think we're looking at that pretty much. Ooh. There we go. Cool. Extend that out on ghost spots. And I might try it the other way around, just for argument's sake. Damn it. Nearly. There we go. That sounds better. Needs some room verb. And I'm going to cut out quite a bit at the bottom end of that. That's very much a background percussive element. Probably around there. I might like a secondary snare as well. I believe I've got a whole... Okay, no, I did it like that. Okay. So I'm going to use this instance of battery again and get a different snare in there. A kind of off snare. Maybe a rim shot. So many rim shots and so few are usable. Maybe I'll grab something else. Quite like that. I could probably get use out of that. That's on D#2. And I'm going to change the channel that's coming out of as well. I would love to know though why it is that that channel is only playing on the left. Because it's on left 53, that's why. Bizarre. Right. That's better. So I'm just going to build up a sort of a more full percussion section at this point, and I'm gradually going to sort of develop it into 1 bar parts and 2 bar parts, 3 bar parts, 4 bar parts. Didn't mean to do that. I'm not convinced that's going to be in every bar, so I'm going to work on taking these out. Morning, Rip Dream. Thank you for following me. Much appreciated. I'm doing great. Yeah, I am indeed writing trance. It does happen on Twitch. It needs to happen on Twitch. I'm going to take out that from there. So it's once every 2 bars. It sounds fine, but every bar was a bit much. That's better. And now I need to put in more percussion. So this is my percussive section. I want to start the section with a crash, which is C4. So I'm going to... Yeah, that's why I haven't done that. I'm going to separate that copy out. In fact, I'm not going to put in the crash yet. That was to do something I do at the end. If I do it now, then I'm going to have to delete it out of every single copy or fiddle around, and it will slow down my writing process. So I'm not going to put in the crash yet, but I will. It's just not yet. Ripstring, just go for it. There's yeah, I write a lot of Goa and Sai. I've been writing Goa and Sai for a long time now. Got a few tracks released, not much, but it's yeah, there's a little bit out there. Yeah, you know, write trance, just go for it. It's not that hard, I promise. If you check out my YouTube channel, there's loads of tutorials on how to do this. So yeah, anyone can do it, I promise. Cool. And I kind of feel like at this point I want to put in a lead. These can go both ways, leads. So we're going to go for sort of a 303 type thing. Just something to say that we're going somewhere. We're very flat at the moment. We've got this nice groove going on, but there's not a lot of kind of musical direction. So we need to get in some of that. I'm looking for a 303 sound. I'm pretty sure I'll find one massive. I don't use a lot of presets. With with stacking too much, you should hear some of my earlier stuff. It's like that. There's so much in there, it's impossible, and it almost became impossible to mix. One of my tracks got released on a compilation CD, which was a competition, and I felt so sorry for the mastering engineer in retrospect because it was just literally, it wasn't over compressed. There was just no headroom left because I'd filled every possible bit of the mix with just layer upon layer upon layer upon layer of sound. He did a fantastic job. I gave him Mission Impossible, but I don't think he appreciated it. So yeah, less is definitely more. Try and think, what's my lead? What's my effects? What's my percussion? And try and strip it down instead of just sort of randomly adding bits. I'm going to chuck in another synth. I'm going to chuck in another synth. I'm going to chuck in another synth now. Instead of sort of constantly doing that, have like a, this is what this section is doing. Have like an aim. Think, how am I connecting emotionally at this point? That is the key to any music, not just Sai or Gara. Just how am I connecting emotionally at this point? And if you're just throwing stuff in, hoping that you will, then you probably won't. So have like a game plan. So what I'm looking for is a synth lead. I'm looking for a classic mono lead, and I'm assuming in here somewhere I'm going to find. In fact, why don't I just search for 303? There must be something in here. Massive 303. I knew it. That's perfect. At least I hope it is. So we'll start off at 65 with a 303. Funny sort of 303. We'll see. So I'm in the key of F. Yeah, it's arpeggiated. Why have they done that? Why would you do that? How would you do that? I see. Let's see what they've actually done here. That's not the sort of thing I was after. So we're going to change the synth there. I'm going to just go for a mojito. I can make a 303 sound in this. Replace. Okay, so in the key of F, here's how we go. Let's see how that sounds. That's one bar. I think I can. And with MIDI patterns, I kind of just tend to sort of mess about until I get what I want going on. So I'm going to duplicate this out. Ooh. Something's a bit off there. We'll figure it out. It's that last bit. Okay, cool. I'm going to duplicate this out and just work on the MIDI for a bit. Get the acid going. That's kind of fast. Yeah. Turn the channel down so it's not clipping. Get some delay on that. I need to cut out the bass because that's going to clash horribly. Probably around there. And I'd also like to distort it. Not crazily. I'm going to do my parallel distortion thing again. So I put in the split channel there. Set it up before my tape echo. Get an amp. And I've really been getting on with this Citrus amp recently. I think it's a cracking amp. And then I'm going to put in another split and put the cabinet into that split. Like that. So, okay, I'm going to go for clean. I'm not going for a huge distorted sound. Yeah. Oh. I think that's kind of the sweet spot. So that's the distortion crossfaded. I'll keep the phase like that. So I'm using the phase inversion to knock out the bass effectively. And let's mix in some of the cabinet. Cool. With it. Right. Oh. And that's a freeze. I don't think he'll like that. What did I do? No, that's a crash. Okay. Well, we'll see how well it did. Nah, no joy. That's not responding at all. Okay. End task, and we shall restart. Just take a minute or two to load. I'm going to stick the kettle on while it does that. God damn it, Studio One. I was just getting somewhere. Yes, I will take the backup. Yes, please. Kettle goes on. 2 minutes. How bad is it? It knocked out all of that. On the upsides, it didn't lose the MIDI, which is the bit that I can't sort out. So I need to put back in an EQ. That's about 100 Hertz. I can't believe it did that. That's so frustrating. 2 splitters, tape echo, which was like that, sort of. Something like that. I suppose I'm recording it, I can find out. And then amps, it was the Citrus amp. And I set that to dirty clean. It was kind of around there, I think. That was definitely inverted, as was that. I had a bit of air. Let's see. Who knows? Maybe that sounds great. Okay. Save. I'll finish making my tea. So, to start with, the MIDI's great, but it's too much. It's just too much at this point. So I'm going to separate out this first copy. And then move, get rid of these, apart from one, and move this last one off. So I'm keeping a record of that MIDI. Following my mantra of take things away to get creative. And now I've got a pattern which is infinitely more usable if you're sort of going into it. And I think what could sound really good is a phaser before our distortion. That's in modulation, so we'll put the phaser in there. And also maybe some chorus. I'll turn that down. I don't want it to be too intense. I don't want it to be stereo. That can lead to a lot of problems. Probably like that. A lot of bass is still getting through. Think about that. So I'm going to extend that out a bit. I'll double that, set up some automation so it starts doing that automatically. Show hide automation, add remove, and I want the instruments filter. I had the filter cut off. And it was about midway, I think, probably around there. I don't make it look easy. There's people who are way faster than me. The people who taught me make it look easy. I'm still not convinced by this side hit. I don't dislike it, But I don't really like it either. It's kind of just there. So I'm going to have a look at that. Let's see how that sounds, whether it's any better. I think that can work a lot better. Yeah. That's all good. Still quite a lot of bass, and I've got too much reverb on it. So obviously that changes way too quick. So I need some kind of drum fill. Oh, I don't think that was the drum fill I meant. Oh, no, I think that would be fine. Okay. That should be about right. And I like some kind of pitch sweep upwards before I go in. So for that, I'm going to use Largo. Why not? I haven't used it for a while. Edit, init patch, grab that. That'll do. That'll be fine. And then I shall assign an envelope to the pitch in the matrix. So envelope 3 goes to pitch. And it's going to be a long attack. Let's get that going on. Bit of detune, a lot of spread. Envelope on the attack, and now we want some filters in there. Serial, probably a high pass filter on this. And we can modulate the waveform as well, so I'm going to modulate that via envelope 3. That doesn't need any damn effects. That's trippy on its own. Okay. So 4 bars of that because it's a big change. So because it's a big change, I'm going to have more effects. So the implication to the listener is we're really changing gear here. We're going into a different section. It doesn't really matter what note I play here. I'm looking more for a sort of area that's right. Oh, wrong synth. That one. Put it through the long verb. Okay. And obviously I'm going to have a crash there, but I don't want to do that yet because I'll have to rework my entire percussion section. So that will go in right at the end when I'm sort of happy about the basic structure of this section, which I'm still not. How else could I make that sound interesting? I can modulate this via an LFO. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea actually. So we'll go for a square wave. I'll sync that and tie it to the clock. No, I won't tie it to the clock actually. I changed my mind. Yeah, there we go. And we'll make that modified with LFO1 all the way. So it needs to be faster from the off. No. That's it. Turn the speed up a bit. Okay. So I want envelope 3, which is kind of like my movement envelope. I need that to control the speed of LFO1 in this patch, which is not something I can remember doing in this synth. A little bit more. And maybe a different waveform. I'm not a mad fan of that waveform. I could go for that, that's fine. I'll change that to oscillator 2, get a bit of madness going on. I think that's kind of there. Let's see how it sounds. That offbeat snare's too loud. Where is it? It's there. Down a bit. And I also want a delay on that pitch sweep I just did. So that'll be probably a 1/8 delay. Just smash the feedback up. Ping pong delay. Okay. So probably at this point, I'll bounce that there's no need for that effect to really change ever. And if I want something similar to that, or the same effect again, it's actually probably better to make it again. So I'm just going to bounce that out. And I'm just going to take a quick toilet break. Otherwise, things are going to get ugly. 1 minute. All done. Sorry about that. Oh, what the hell was I doing? Oh yeah, I bounced that. And then I decided I wanted a FM lead, I believe. Okay. I can make an FM lead. What could the problem possibly be? Oh, I'll bounce out that too, because that's using a ton of CPU power, that Falcon. Transform to audio track. Shouldn't take too long. Perfect. Now I don't have to do that dub chord ever again. But if I want to, I can get it back, which is nice. So for an FM lead, I think I'll go with Bazil. Yuhi. This can get pretty nasty, so that's perfect. Yeah, why not? We'll go with Bazil. And I kind of want this to come in probably here. So I'm going to also extend out this mojito. Just going to grab that and double it. And I'll check on the automation and what I just did to that. Yeah, I thought so. That's probably no bad thing. And I'll jump down into here. I want probably 30 seconds. Probably something like that. Although, if I'm clever, what I'll show you. So in my mojito part, I've got essentially the third beat is empty in both bars, and a lot of the second beat. So I can do myself a favour in the mix if I put my new FM lead at those points in the bar, as opposed to clashing it with the lead. So I will do that, I think. I'll move that across. Ooh. I kind of like that. That'll do for now. To be getting on with, I'll merge them, so that's one event, 2-bar pattern, and I'll ping that off into the distance. Silo it out, and now I need to get a nice 30 FM patch going on in Bat Zero. Oh, modular synthesis on the fly, let's go. Where did the sound go? That's too far. Okay. Fixing effects, I want that down an octave. Chuck that into a filter. That's getting there. It's pretty nasty. Maybe if I made that a half saw. There we go. And I'm going to distort that heavily. Kind of a, I think like a heavy metal guitar sound. Though again, we're going to do this trick with the 2 splitters and putting the cabinet and the amp. So that's our natural tone. So basically I always use guitar amps as like a sort of parallel distortion. Well, not always, but very often. Wow. I'm going to reduce the high end before it gets to the amp. So that's clean. and that's dirty. And then let's put on the guitar amp. Whoa. No. Not you. You're too boomy. I'm happy with that. That's kind of a nasty, dirty, metally tone. As in not metal, heavy metal, as in literally metallic. I like it. That's like just a ruder sort of acid. Yeah. So it goes from about there, this sounds. Alright. And I need automation. Add remove. I'm looking for filter 1 of my automation list, which I'm then going to add into my automation. There we go, perfect. And I'll put a good whack of that in, see how it sounds. I've run out of filter. So a lot of the sound happens straight away. So I'm going to extend this down so I get more control over my automation. And I want to do something like that. I'm pretty happy with that. I'll get a bit of delay on there. Getting there. I still like more from this sound. I'm not quite getting it. That's kind of doing it for more for me. It's almost like a hardcore noise now. And we could try some modulation on this. We could try some weird modulation. Nah, I don't think so. It's too major. We'll try. I'll go for a flanger on it. That's nasty. Yeah, I can go with that. So that's 16 bars. I think probably at that point I'd like the open hi-hat to come back in. It's not been out for long, but I kind of feel we've reached that point for development. Oh, I'll grab all of them. That feels right. Which means I can reckon by that measurement I'm kind of done with that, and I can put in my hi-hat there now. It's up here, I think. Yeah. Cool. Oh no, wrong part. I managed to confuse myself. I'll delete that and that and that and that. Just grab these and move them across and then duplicate them out. That'll be the simplest way of doing that. And then it's that one I want. So separate out share copies. Just like that. Okay. And we're going to want some kind of little signifier that we're so we're kind of building up in 16s now, and that's so we had kind of 32 bar sections in the first bit, and now we're accelerating into 16s. So I'm going to need more content, and I think I'm going to be heading up to about 129 And at 129, I'll probably have a short breakdown. So that's what's currently in my head. We'll see whether that happens or not. But I'm going to need some kind of noise to signify that I'm into 16s, if that makes sense. So what am I going to use? We'll use a Falcon because I think that's the best synth I've got for making build-up sweeps. So we'll chuck that in somewhere. To the bottom. Oh my god. Nearly there. Tell you what, would be so much easier if I just did that. Right, cool. And I'm going for bar 81. And Mojito has this annoying. Falcon has this annoying thing. I can't drag and drop from within the DAW. So I'm going to do it from here. Complete library, and then I want my Aquasonic one shots from Alchemy. I don't really mind which one it is. They're all fantastic in some way. God, yeah, and we're going to do our standard trick of making Falcon a little bit easier to work with. Just throwing the bits at it until I can get to the key group stage, which is there. I'll take out that oscillator. I want a multi-granular. Okay, multi-granular. That's perfect. Now I'll go back to my samples. I grab that one. Why not? Increase the number of voices, increase the density, increase the position spread, not much. Increase the time spread, not much. A little bit of jitter. Some randomness. Take the speed all the way out. A little bit of that. Change the window from a triangle to, I think, probably a hanging window. Okay. And let's see what we got, because I have no idea what sample is in there. And I'm going to make some kind of pad with movement, essentially, out of the Aquasonic One Shots library. Is sort of typically like cymbals being dunked into water, so you get weird, phasey, enharmonic sounds, and they're fantastic for making fills and sweeps, stuff like that. So I'll jump down into that and get going with making a sound. See how weird that is straight away. Okay. I'm going to work on this soloed out. Or do I want to go backwards through this one? Solo. Okay, cool. Yeah, cool. I'm going to work backwards. So I'm going to automate this using. Or do I want to do it with a macro? Okay, no, I'll do it with the macro. Assign to host automation. And now that will be. No, clear. Clear, 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 clear. Okay, let's try again. Add modulation. Analog ADSR. Let's keep it simple. So that goes like that. Probably 10 seconds. And then I'm going to change the modulation amount. It's going to jump down like that. This synth is just crazy. I'm going to add a bit of modulation onto this as well. No, I can use the I can already use that analog ADSL for this. That'll be fine. Cool. There's quite a lot of low frequency content in here, so I'm going to cut that out. And I want a bit of attack from the actual envelope, just to keep it smooth. Let's get some effects on there. This crazy dual delay again. I've been trying to understand how this one works, and I just don't. I don't understand this phase rotation bit. That sounds amazing. And now I might use the actual reverb in here. So hold on to your CPU because it could all go wrong. Let's get the gain up. And I think that sounds kind of amazing. So I'm going to bounce that. Did that work? I'm not sure that worked. I don't think it liked that. That's a crash. So I'm going to save. Just check I'm still streaming. Dear idea, 2 crashes in one morning. Yeah, that's definitely crashed. Okay. Close. Yes. I'll try it, yeah, there we go. Thought so. It did not like that. So let's restart. It can't always be easy. I'll try bouncing that without the reverb and just use the lovely reverb I already have in the program. See if it behaves itself at that point. And if I get that bounce, then at that point I will have to stop for the morning because I'm out of time. Got things to do with the day, which is a shame. Okay. Good. Let's go back to this part now. Take off that reverb, so I think that was probably killing it. And now I'm going to try bouncing it. Perfect. We have a winner. I'm also going to normalize that. That is super quiet. Normalize audio. And reduce the volume. I can work with it. Okay. That sadly is time for me. I'll be back tomorrow again from 9 till 11 and same on Thursday and Friday. I hope to see you then. I'll be exporting this to YouTube. If you've got any questions, feel free to drop a comment. I do respond. I do do tutorials by request, which I'll gladly broadcast up here. Fantastic. I hope you enjoyed it this morning. I'm sorry about the couple of crashes. I'm not too sure. I'll have a little look at that and see if I can figure out what happened, but probably I doubt it. Probably just me overloading my system. Peace out. Thank you very much, guys.